Hey, no, yeah, come on in. Don't worry, I was just studying. Nothing that interesting. Yeah, have a seat. What can I help you with today? Okay. Alright, sounds good. Do you have a library card? Okay. Alright, well that is where we will need to start then. Okay. Do you have a little bit of time? This might take a minute. I have to process all of your paperwork side of it, essentially. Okay. Alright, great. Well, just let me know if you do have to stop, and we can resume another time. It doesn't all have to be done in one sitting. Okay, cool. Well, first thing is I'll need to take a picture. Yeah, it's just a Polaroid, but we need something to scan into the system so that we have something we can put on your actual library card. Because today I'm just going to give you a temporary, and once it's made, we will either mail you or you can come pick up here your permanent library card. Okay, alright, great. So, let me see here. Alright. It's been a while since I've used this thing, so. Hopefully I remember how. Okay. Alright, looks like it has 5 left, so we should be good. You can look. Usually, if I remember right, if you look into the lens, you're kind of off to the side, so I think I would look closer over here, unless you don't want to be looking head on, which is fine. Okay, ready? Okay. Put this way while that develops. So the next step that we're going to do is I'm going to scan your picture into the computer, and then we'll be able to put in all of your information to correspond with the picture. Yeah, the system makes us make sure we have a picture first, so. It's almost done. You look great, don't worry. Not that you really have to show this to anyone. All right. Just okay. There it goes. All right. So I have a few questions I'll have to ask you. Okay. Let's see. What is your first name? Can you spell it for me? And last name? Okay. Yeah, they're on. All of our computers in the whole library are protected with privacy screens. So unless you're face on to the computer, they look dark, like there's no screen happening at all, which is pretty cool. It's also good. Obviously, you're not allowed to look up anything illicit, but if you are researching a sensitive topic or something that makes you uncomfortable, you don't want other people to really know what you're looking for, that's a really great feature to know. Yeah, and all of our cubicles that have computers at them have dividers, so there is that element of privacy, but it is also nice just so that people walking by can't really tell what you're doing. Yeah. Okay, so next, can I get your address, please? How do you spell that? And what's your zip code? Okay. All right, and what's your date of birth? Would you like to opt for our, we have like a keychain version that's essentially just a barcode. So you can avoid having to take the whole card out of your wallet if you want to. And it just has our logo on one side and your account number and barcode on the other side. Okay, great. Okay. Alright, and do you have any genres of books that you like, that you know you like? I know that you're here for a project, but in general, sometimes we can help point you in the right direction for your leisure reading as well. Okay. Do you want to just make your preferences suited towards your project then? Okay. Yeah, we can always change it later. We also have an online portal now, so you'll get a welcome email, and you can use the link that comes in that email to set up your own account, and that way you can alter things if you want to. Okay, alright. So what exactly is your project going to be about? I know you were telling me a little bit. Okay. Alright, so maybe some books about architecture and bridges. Okay. And is there a specific time frame? Is this a modern, or are we looking at something historical? More historical? Okay. Okay. And what else about this? Okay. Okay. Alright, so that has all been plugged in. So anytime that you go to a computer here in the library, or if you log on to that portal, you can check into like your little favorites essentially, and it will populate books that might be useful to you based on your search preferences, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm saying you can change in the future if you want to. Yeah, and it's actually pretty nice. It tells you what all is available in the library, because sometimes, things get checked out, and we do have a sort of system with neighboring libraries where we can get books by request sent here for free. So that's a nice feature, but I know that not everyone always has the time to wait, so it can be really disappointing to come here looking for a specific book only to find out that it is not here. Yeah, there will be a little green sort of circle in the bottom left. You should see it. I think it also says the call number, and has like a check mark for the fact that it's here. And ones with a yellow check mark mean that they're available at one of our neighboring libraries, so we could order it essentially to come here, or you could go pick it up there if you wanted to drive to wherever that might be. I know that if you live around here, this is probably going to be far and away the most convenient one, but within 15 or 20 minutes we have two of our other libraries for neighboring counties. Exactly, so just something to think about if you really are in a bind and need a book that same day. You can drive and go get it. You can also put books on hold. And you can do that coming talking to me or someone else here. You can do that through the online portal. Yep, they'll hold it for 72 hours, so you have the right to come pick it up in that time frame. Yeah, it's a pretty generous hold, so I think it's nice. It is always courteous if you decide against a book to remove your hold. That way, if someone else does want it, they're not waiting the 3 days just to see if you check it out. Okay, great. So I'm just gonna mark a couple boxes that say that we went over sort of what's available to you. Okay. And just so you know, for our privacy policy, all of the information that I am getting from you stays within the library. It's strictly for the purposes of your card. There's no external system that this information will go to whatsoever. It's just within the library system, which is a closed governmental system. Okay? And what's a good email address for you? Is that Gmail? Okay. All right. So that is processing at the moment. It's going to print some of the information that I just typed in onto the back of your Polaroid. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then that will be ready for me to give you. I have a little lanyard that I will put it on for you, and that will be your temporary for now. Okay. So in the meantime, did you have questions generally about the library? Yeah, we can definitely talk about what all is here. Okay, so let me make a quick reference map. Would you like a chocolate, by the way? They're dark chocolate. Yeah, I think they're really good. This is the Dove dark chocolates. Yeah. Take a few if you want. Yeah, no problem. It'll keep you alert while we're going over this. Okay, so this library has 3 floors, okay? The first floor that you came in on, as you probably saw, is all of our children's stuff in general. We have books, we have playrooms down there that are essentially educational rooms. They're not, like a fun house at McDonald's. And we also have a couple little like children's movie theaters. We have kids' movies, and there are often activities for the local kids that go on down there. So the first floor is not super quiet. We actually have a 3-floor system here. So the first floor, which is the children's floor, is green, and green signifies that you can talk at a normal volume. You can essentially function like normal. You don't have to completely respect the quiet, you're in a library type thing, although it is still courteous not to be screaming. Yeah. So that is our green floor. The floor that you and I are on right now, the second floor, is our yellow floor. And what this means is that on this floor you can whisper, you can talk softly, but it's still preferable that you kind of respect others. Don't go out of your way to annoy anyone, of course. But generally speaking, this is the floor where you can still kind of socialize and talk to others if necessary. It's a good place for study groups. We have all around the outside of this floor, there are rooms. They are locked, so you do have to come and get a key. But if you have a study group, you can reserve a room, you can walk in, and if any are available, you can have it. And of course, there are adult books on this floor. Everything on this floor is going to have to do with essentially nonfiction. So your sciences, your psychology, history, all that kind of information is on this floor, and the floor above is our fiction. However, autobiographies and works about authors or critical texts about texts are also on the third floor. So you can think of this as like the facts floor, and above is the sort of questionable, not totally fact floor. Okay. You can tell I do this a lot, right? I'm awesome at explaining. Okay, so the third floor is our red floor, and that means that you are not allowed to even whisper. It's a completely quiet floor, it's reserved for those who are studying alone. Sometimes we have students come and they're cramming for finals or working on a really hard project. We have graduate students who come and use our books and our library as just a place where they can really focus and not have any distractions whatsoever. So we don't have vending machines up there, we don't have water fountains up there. It's very just books, and we have tables. Each table has a built-in lamp, so you can use that or not use that, up to you. Some of the tables are by the windows and other ones are more in the central area of the library, of the room I guess I should say, with the books surrounding. So there's, think of it like a square right in the middle, and then all of the shelves of books kind of make a maze around it. So if you get distracted by outdoor noises and cars going by and birds fluttering, which is all normal and just happens, you can avoid that by going to the very center of the maze, so to speak, and choosing a desk in the middle. Okay, so that is the hardcore floor. There is also in the back, I don't know how much you explored the first floor, but there's a bagel place in the back of the first floor. The bagels are delicious. They also have smoothies, coffee, sandwiches, like you can get a bacon, egg, and cheese or something like that on a bagel. They have muffins. They have really good pastries. So in the event that you want to have a snack while you're here, that is open to the public completely. You do have to pay. It's just regular cash card, whatever. It's not affiliated with the library. So, yeah. It's just like a third-party vendor renting space, essentially. So it functions as any normal business would. Okay? You are allowed to take food on the second floor. You are not allowed to take food on the third floor. Okay? So, there are lavatories on every floor. The first floor lavatories are, they have family style labs for parents and children. There are changing tables in the men's and the women's rooms. We have a non-gendered bathroom as well. And finally we have really, really nice, actually big handicap stalls there. So these are all split up around the perimeter of the entire first floor. So all of the family stuff when you first come into the library is to the left. The back wall is going to be your non-gendered and just boys and girls lab, and then on the right wall are the nice handicap suites. Yeah, and on the second and third floor they are handicap accessible as well. We have an elevator, but they're not as updated, so they are just typical what you'd expect. And those are in the corners of both of the floors. So it's every corner of the third and fourth floor. And the doors are pretty thick. This is an older building, so it's fine. Flushing the toilet and stuff is not super loud. So on the third floor, you might want to just wait to open the door until no one's washing their hands or flushing a toilet. But aside from that, the sound doesn't really escape very much. We've kind of built them behind a little partition wall as well, so yeah. So don't feel shy to make use of them if you need to. Okay, so I should probably write that out as well. Okay. Let's see, in terms of other amenities, we do have in the back, there is a sort of trail. There's a little pond, I guess I would call it, back there. It's actually really pretty. There's a little stream that goes through and a bridge, kind of like a Monet painting or something. It's pretty nice. The trail just winds around the lake. You're lucky you're getting my awesome art skills here. And if you were to walk the full trail, you'd just come in a full circle. Okay. So it does look rather wooded in some spots, and it seems like you might be lost for a second, but I assure you that you're not. It is perfectly fine to bring your friends, your dogs, your kids, whomever you'd like to walk that trail anytime that the library is open. There's an access gate on the side of the building that allows you to get back there. So it is only available during library hours. We are closed on federal holidays, but aside from that, we are open every day of the week at some point. Okay. And our 2 access gates. Okay. There's one at the beginning, towards the beginning of the trail, and another one towards the end that just sort of loops around either side of the building. So really you can go either way and have the same effect. There are also some benches, some picnic benches back there if you ever wanted to pack a lunch and just come have a nice place to sit. I know some people bring their reading material outside when the weather's nice and read over the pond. Yeah, it's really pretty. There's a lot of nice flowers. Okay, so that is the majority of what is available here. We have food, of course, restrooms, different level of quiet depending on what you need, and the outdoor trail. Okay, and you have full access to all of this since you have a library card. Okay, now let's see. I forgot to write down what's available on the second and third floor in terms of books. The second floor is all of our non-fic. Okay, here we go. Do you have any questions for me so far? I'm sorry if I'm doing this too fast. Okay, I think it is all pretty self-explanatory and you seem bright, so you'll be fine. But if you do have any questions, there is a information desk on the second and first floor. Another thing that we did need to, well, we don't need to, but if you'd like to, we can talk about is the fact that we offer audiobooks and DVDs, movies. We actually have some VHS as well, relics, but we have a lot of films. We have acclaimed films, so like the Criterion Collection and things that are going to be more highbrow, I guess, which sometimes if you take certain classes at the nearby college for literature or film, they will recommend something that we have here available. But we also have just everyday films that you'd see at the movie theater. Yeah, and you can rent those out just like you used to at a, what were they even called? I want to say Blockbuster, but I don't know if you know that. Just at a movie store rental place. I guess they're called rental places. So you can rent them as well here. You start off with a 5-day rental for most things, unless for some reason it's going to be used a lot. So for example, if it's part of coursework for a certain class, the local colleges will tell us and we'll make that a 3-day. Okay. Yeah, we usually have multiple copies of those though. Okay. So are there any DVDs, genres of film that you like, that you'd like me to add to your profile? Yeah, okay. Okay. Do you have some favorite directors or just favorite movies even? Okay. Okay. Great. And do you think that you'll make use of the audiobooks? Not sure. That's fine. It's the similar thing with audiobooks. It's a key that you get. If you want to do the online, you can rent them through the online. Use your portal. If you want a physical copy of the audiobook to play in your car or something, you have a CD player, you can get that as well here. Okay. All of our DVDs and audiobooks that are meant for adults are on the second floor. Right, you got it. We don't want people browsing around on the third floor and making noise, so it's all on the second floor. Okay? I should add that as well. Alright, so here is your lovely map. Okay. Is there anything else? Questions at this point? Okay. Alright, I'm going to print this. that is going to scan on to the Polaroid, and then I will pop it onto this handy dandy little lanyard. Okay, just wait another second. Do you want any more chocolate? Okay. Alright. Okay. This part is always tricky for me. Okay. Here you are. Great. So that's your temporary library card. Your actual library card will come with a little sleeve, and since you opted for the keychain as well, that will be probably just in the packet. It doesn't have a cover, I don't think. Okay, so you are ready to go, I believe. Do you know how to find a book? Like after the computer step? Okay, yeah. So, I know a lot of people get intimidated by the thought of the Dewey Decimal System, but it's set up really, really simply here. So, as you come in to the door, there's only one entrance and one exit, and it's right near the elevator as well. So starting on your left-hand side is A, and it works around in a circle. Right, and so if there's 4 rows, those are all going to be A until it's B. Does that make sense? Right, so if you're looking for something, I don't know, the last name is Adams, you're going to want to be more towards the left. If you were looking for something with the last name Axel, you'd want to be more towards the right. Right. Exactly. So AA, AB, AC, etc. will be on the leftmost bookshelf of the A section, and A, X, Y, Z will be on the rightmost. Okay? And then as you progress, it'll repeat the same thing. So BA, BB, BC will be towards the left, all the way through. The middle 2 rows are like the middle of the alphabet usually. Of course, it depends on how many books we have with the author's name meeting that criteria to belong in that section. So some sections may be more condensed than other sections. Okay, and if you get a call number for a book, you'll notice up on the top, right where it says A, B, C, etc., you'll also have numbers on each of those that refer to each row. So each bookshelf in each area's row will have not just the initial letter, but also the numbers that correspond. Okay? And it's like that for every floor, including the children's. Okay, and then when it comes to DVDs and audiobooks, those are kind of set up the way that they would be in like an FYE, if you remember that, some sort of CD store. They're in sort of risers. I think they still have this at bookstores like Barnes and Noble and whatnot. They have a music section, I think, that has it set up this way, or at least they used to. And ours is very similar. We also do have the little kiosks where you can put on headphones and scan whatever it is you're considering taking out when it comes to the audiobooks. And you can listen to the narrator, see if you like it, that kind of thing. It'll just do a sample. Okay. DVDs, there's no option to preview, but they are in their actual cases, so you can read the description and see the runtime and all that. Okay. And those just move from left to right with the alphabet. Nothing crazy. There are markers along the way as well. Okay. Cool. Trying to think if there's anything else. I guess the last thing would be, do you know how to use the online search tool to actually search for a book? Yeah. It's pretty straightforward if you're used to using computers. Okay, yeah. So there will be a preliminary search bar where you can just type in, architecture, and it will pull up everything we have related to architecture. We also have an advanced search, however. So you can click that. It's a box beneath the search bar. And then it will bring you to a new page where you can add a lot more specifications. You can, if you're looking for a book that was published within a certain date, like let's say you are working on a project and you need the opinions of people from the 60s, you can type the publication date range 1960 to 1969, and you will only get books about architecture that were published during that point in time. And you can also click to sort of ensure that the book that you're getting isn't just an opinion. It's called scholarly text. This also applies for any online texts that you might check out or be interested in. And it's just a way to make sure that they are legitimate resources worth being cited. Nothing that you're gonna get in trouble for using as a reference. Kind of like the difference between using a blog and using a professionally published paper. Okay. The advanced search is also neat because you can narrow down by category. So if you have a pretty broad subject, but you want to know about that subject in a specific context, I don't know if this even makes much sense, if there would be anything, but if you want architecture, but you want to know how people think about architecture or how the minds of an architect works, you can go specifically to the psychology subcategory, and then it will only search for your search terms within the psychology section of our books. Right. And I did kind of forget to mention that the ABC that I was telling you about is also broken up by section. So it's not like the science and the history and the psychology are all mixed. It's a new section every time. And those are clearly labeled. So, okay. Yeah, so there are a lot of neat features with the advanced search. I think that it kind of helps to do both. It's helpful to do an overarching search, especially if you don't have a very narrow topic. But if you know exactly what you want to write about and you need some sort of niche book, it's very, very helpful to have the advanced filters. Yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions for me? Okay. Yeah, it's my pleasure, no problem. I'm just gonna submit everything since we're done. Okay, well, I will let you be on your merry way. If you end up having any other questions, my name is Violet. You can come back and ask me anything you'd like. Okay. All right. Thanks. I hope you do too.